Beep, 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 beep. Hello. How you doing, you lot? Here's a cute one. Right. Good morning. Let's get started. I've got something here from the EUstatesman.com about a guy called Frank Zamora, and you can see him there. Look, there he is, Frank. They've sort of photographed him from down by his knees to make him all look, kind of, I don't know what, just, imposing. So this is Frank Zamora being imposing. This Frank Zamora stands in front of his former state office building, the Stephen F. Austin building, last month. Zamora, a former state agency employee, was terminated for displaying he/him pronouns in his email signature. Zamora is male and added the pronouns. Is he? Do you think that big bruiser of a bloke there? And added the pronouns to his email signature in solidarity with non-binary, intersex, for God's sake, and transgender Texans, TTs. He was terminated shortly thereafter. Your clothes, give them to me. He was terminated shortly after. Unbelievable. This is written by Bayless Wagner. On a balmy Thursday night in February, Frank Zamora was at home in San Antonio, writing a pros and cons list. I mean, this is just on a balmy Thursday night. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. This is so insane. The Texas state agency where he worked had given him an ultimatum. They'd given him an ultimatum. I think as an employee, he was given an instruction, which he had a problem following. But what do you think? You let me know in the dubris. Stupid man. Right. Remove your pronouns from your work email signature or lose your job. The agency-wide policy came down on the February 3rd, February, 3 days after Governor Greg Abbott ordered state agencies to comply with the law and the biological reality that there are only two sexes, male and female. So this big bruiser of a bloke thought, I am in another. If he stayed, Zamora would keep a steady paycheck, a team he loved, and a stellar supervisor. Yes, so what's the problem? Just take him out. He continued to do work he appreciated and excelled at, according to glowing performance reviews in his files. So this guy was good at his job in this agency. But in the end, Zamora, who was born male and identifies as such, he doesn't have to identify as such. He's just a bloke. So this is the EUstatesman.com, you bunch of tossers. But in the end, Zamora, the man, couldn't get past one glaring item on the con list: what it would mean for him to give in. So the next morning, he told his supervisors at the Texas Real Estate Commission that he would neither remove his pronouns nor resign. He was terminated before noon. I won't be back. Then you got like this thing here of him. Look. Education specialist. Well, obviously you're not very good at that. You can't be, Frank, because you're being an idiot. Him. Frank Zamora was fired, right? And this was provided by Frank Zamora himself, confirmed through open records requested by the American Statesman. Zamora's firing is among the first examples of how state agencies have responded to Abbott's order limiting expanded definitions of gender. Yes, more of this, please. The Republican governor sent his notice to agency heads along with an order banning, this is the word we need to look at, diversity, equity, and inclusion practices. Glory be! On January the 30th, modelling them after Donald Trump's mandates to federal agencies. So in other words, this is what Trump's been up to, the Orange Man doeth, and Texan Man also doeth, right? And by those two doing the doth, old Zamora is no longer working for these people. Hey, Zamora, you grizzled twerp. In the Federal Inauguration Day executive order cited in Abbott's January the 30th letter, Trump slammed gender ideology as a leftist worldview. What is a leftist worldview? That perpetuates the false claim that males can identify as and thus become women and vice versa, and requires all institutions of society to regard this false claim as true. The federal and state crackdown on language marking gender identity comes as conservative lawmakers. Oh, so it's conservative lawmakers, is it, rather than as people with common sense. The federal and state crackdown on language marking gender identity comes as people with an ounce of sense in their head, those of us that see things in the real world, led an effort to roll back trans rights, particularly in Texas. We're not rolling back your rights. You shouldn't have them in the first place, because trans is nothing. It doesn't exist. Particularly in Texas, one of several US states that banned gender transition medical care for minors. Good. Good, you think from this that they were happy about that. Why are you unhappy today then here at the Statesman? They banned surgically mutilating children. Oh, it's a shock, isn't it? I don't know what to do. I'm going home. I need to lie down. All right. A new proposal to bar transgender people from using bathrooms of the opposite sex has been filed in this legislative session. Right, let's get that done too, shall we? Get these buggers out of the bathrooms. It also comes as both Abbott and Trump have similarly targeted state and federal agencies. They haven't. What they've done is they've enacted the will of the people, and you ain't happy about it. You bunch of misery guts. It's just so good. Federal agencies, public universities and schools for DEI practices, in some cases prompting confusion about how to comply. Yeah, just don't do any of it. I say you comply. Don't get caught doing it because they'll fire you. You know how we know that they'll fire you? Because this tit got fired. Just I must stand by my principles that reality doesn't exist. All right, Zamora, you're out of here. You shouldn't be anywhere near education. And then they've got this wonderful picture. Look at that. Frank Zamora greets a former co-worker, Alison Phillip, outside the Stephen F. Austin building, where he used to work. It's just hilarious going on. In the February the 3rd email blast, what they mean is they sent an email to a few people. The Real Estate Commission director ordered staff members at 2 agencies responsible for regulating realtors and appraisers to remove pronouns, writing that the change was based on a recent directive from Governor Abbott. I understand this change may have an impact on employees, and I'm sensitive to that, wrote Chelsea Pacholtz, who heads the commission, and the Texas Appraiser Licensing and Certification Board in the email. The governor, however, has directed the agency to act, and so we will. Abbott's January 30th letter, however, does not specify how agencies should ensure they are in compliance, leaving room for interpretation. There is no mention of preferred pronouns. This guy's got himself fired for something that's not in existence. Oh, it's good. When asked for comment, Abbott's office referred the statesman to the January 30th directive without addressing Zamora's firing. Quite right too. Mind your own business. Zamora, here we go. A member of the LGBTQ plus hands, knees and bumps and daisy community sees Abbott's directive and the state agency's implementation of it as a bid to deny that trans people exist. They just pretend there's something they're not. How can you exist if you're pretending to do something you're not? Right, it's just like saying it is a bid to deny that people who think they're Napoleon exist. People that think they're Marie Antoinette exist. People that think they're Rosa Parks exist. It's just nonsense. It's part of a broader effort to make LGBTQ people feel unwelcome. It's not at all. As far as I can find out, the state of Texas doesn't have a problem with gays and lesbians. You and your nutter friends, on the other hand, they've got a problem with, because you've got fired. Did you notice you got fired? I can smell burning martyr. I could not, in good conscience, contribute to those actions in any way, no matter how small Zamora told us. I could not. Despite the fact that I know it's all a load of rubbish, do anything but throw myself on the pyre. And from the look of him, it was a big pyre. Sorry. I should attack the argument, shouldn't I? Not the man, but, you know. He looks like a disgruntled professor. Anyway, listen, go read the rest of it. It's just bloody priceless. It's just, at one point he says, there's been multiple occasions when I stop and I ask myself, is this really happening? Yes, you're now sitting there with no job. It's really happening. I want more of this in spades, and I want it over in the UK. And they should all do that walk of shame from the Game of Thrones, where they don't strip him naked, right? Fart and give us a clue. Never mind, right? All that. Shame, bell. Let's get the job done. Absolutely glorious. Come and be a warrant teacher. Buy me a coffee. I need to keep going. Other than that, I'll see you later. Have a grand day. Bye-bye.